I feel like I've only ever hung out with you on camera.
I know, that is kind of weird.
I know, right?
But like Madonna, like she said that thing once, like, why do anything if it's not on camera? So
True.
that's like us.
Record it. Now there's history. There's lore. Emily, hi.
Hi.
So good to see you.
Nice to see you.
How's it all been? How are you doing?
I'm good. Well, I just do feel like we only see each other on camera.
Yeah.
But it's been good.
Yeah.
You? How's it been without me off camera?
Devastating.
Yeah, okay.
Just so sad. But you are my first interview of 2025.
Really? Oh, of 20. I thought you meant of this morning. I was excited by that, but now of 2025.
Of the year.
That's starting it off really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's all downhill from here.
I know. Who's going to come next? I don't even care. That's wild. Before we get started, I do want to say thank you for the video that you sent my friend Nathan.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Well, I was in Brazil a couple weeks ago, and I met these guys named Theo and Nathan. And Nathan I said I was from Canada, and he was like, "I love Canada. I'm the biggest fan of Schitt's Creek. I watch it all the time, and I tell everyone to watch it." Blah blah blah. And I said, I might be able to pull some strings here. So you were so nice to send a video to say hi to him.
So
that was
wait,
very
you
lovely.
really did just randomly meet these people?
Well, I was on like a trip with like influencers, so it was like one of those. Yeah. So, but he was so grateful for it and never stopped talking about it the entire trip.
Oh,
so
that makes me feel good.
yeah, that really made his whole trip. So
Yay.
thank you so much for that.
Thanks.
Yeah, and congratulations on the rig.
Oh, thank you.
What an incredible show. I watched the season finale last night of season 2.
Oh,
yeah, I finished the show completely. It's so incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like Schitt's Creek, but it's very timely in a bit scary way. It's kind of an environmental thriller set on an oil rig, and this year we're in the Arctic, and it's so epic. I've never done anything on such a mass scale where, like, we shoot it in a studio, but it's like they kind of build the whole world inside the studio. And when at the end of the day, I look at my my steps on my iWatch or whatever you call it now.
Apple Watch, yeah.
iWatch. I was thinking of like an iPod. That's how
That's
old
okay.
I am. But yeah, I get like so many steps because it's so big.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. How is it for you watching the show after you shoot it all? Because it's got to look so different on screen than it does with you shooting it.
It's so weird because we had a premiere in Scotland, and it was the first time any of us saw it on the big screen. And it's, as an actor, you never know how those things are going to turn out. Like with green screen stuff too, you're always scared that you're going to be like so afraid of the big monster, and then you find out the big monster's like nothing. But we were all so blown away because we're also looking for like the problems they built the Arctic. You would never know. It's amazing. It's very, I guess epic is the word that keeps coming to mind because I've never been in something like that.
Yeah. How much did you know about working on an oil rig before you started the show?
I mean, everything, right?
An expert.
I kept calling it a ship, it's not a ship. I knew nothing, but what's really interesting is you realize it could be anywhere that is this where you're trapped in a small place and everything becomes this microcosm society with these hierarchies and mysteries and alliances and people's loyalties getting just all, society crumbling.
Totally. No spoilers, of course, but you were such a badass in season 1. Season 2, Rose, is like a badass.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really step into like that leadership role. Would you describe yourself in real life as a leader, or are you more of a follower?
Weirdly, I feel like this series is paralleled with my life because as I was going into season 2, well, actually season 1 was very much about Rose being all about work, and she had this relationship that she was kind of like, when it's convenient for me, and all about like climbing the ladder and success. And then in season 2, it's all about her trying to learn how to become a leader and learn how to actually work with people to become a leader. And I felt like that was what was happening in my life, because I've been starting to do stuff behind the camera, and it's a learning curve to be like, I want to be a really good leader. And so I look to people like my friend Jenna Lyons she's this kind of badass woman who was the like CEO of J. Crew and like knows all about like managing people, and that I find is an incredible skill to do well to inspire people. And so I felt like hopefully this season Rose gave me a bit of that, mostly when I put on my boiler suit, because that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, you've been writing more, right? Yeah, how's that going? Really
good. I'm doing kind of a dream show now with Elliot Page, and I love it. So it's kind of like acting without having to do anything in front of people, because you can like just become all the characters. You can play all the parts too in your head, and you don't have to be nervous. You don't have to put on any costume. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's so great. You mentioned the majority of the show is shot in Scotland. How's your Scottish accent?
Really, really, like maybe the worst.
Really?
So bad that I actually sound like Australian.
Does that mean we're not going to hear any?
Oh, no. I totally get canceled. However, when I did the first season, it was COVID, like full on masks and everything. So I didn't understand people to begin with, but like add the layer of the mask and then completely, like that was my main acting secret of season 1, that I couldn't understand anyone. So I'm really listening.
Right. Even watching the show, I had to turn on the subtitles because I was like, the accents are strong.
Yeah.
I interviewed Lewis Capaldi a few times, who's a singer from Scotland, and it's the same thing where I'm like just following the lips. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. Had you watched Game of Thrones before you were on this show? Because 3 actors that are on this show were on Game of Thrones, which is wild.
Yes. So yes, I know that. No, I had not watched Game of Thrones. However, so Iain Glen, who is one of the leads in this show, was on Game of Thrones, and we had to have this like meet and greet over Zoom, like a chemistry kind of read. But we weren't reading together, we were just meeting. And he comes on and he's like, "Oh, I'm such a fan of you, of Schitt's Creek." And I was like, "You, Game of Thrones." And then like halfway through shooting, he asked me, he's like, "So if I was going to watch," and if I could do a Scottish accent, I would do him, but I can't. He's like, "So if I was going to watch like your favorite episode of Schitt's Creek, what would it be?" And I was like, I haven't seen Game of Thrones either. So none of us have watched any of, like in Line of Duty is Martin Compston's on that. I haven't watched any. Yeah. So it's bad.
Yeah. At least it was equal though.
Oh,
you hadn't seen each other's.
I mean, it's less bad for me because Game of Thrones, that's like a lot. Schitt's Creek, he could, you can watch it like in a night.
Right. Game of Thrones is a feat. I haven't watched it either, which
I can't watch things like with that much commitment or Middle Earth. I know it's not Middle Earth maybe, but dragons, Middle Earth, like it all seems the same to me.
Yeah, I need to be able to half watch something while I'm doing something else. And Game of Thrones, all I've been told is that you have to pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
And my ADHD just can't.
No, same.
Yeah, so sorry to all the GOT fans. I apologize. Speaking of Stevie from Schitt's Creek, I watched an interview recently with Rainn Wilson and Bryan Cranston. And they were talking about no matter how many roles they do, they'll always be remembered as these iconic characters of Walter White and Dwight. How do you feel that no matter how many roles that you do in your career, there's still going to be some people that always associate you with Stevie?
I feel really lucky that it's Stevie and not some character that's like people hate. Like, I love it. Whenever somebody like recognizes me and calls me Stevie, there's nothing I love more. I love when people name their children and their pets Stevie. So yeah, it's also because Stevie is just, she's everyone. She's like the everyman. And yeah, I wish I was Stevie a lot of the time. Usually when people meet me, they realize I'm not like Stevie and they're disappointed. I'm disappointed too. So
what would you say is the biggest difference then between you and Stevie?
All this. Like Stevie, I really have to be really still as Stevie. It's kind of this weird trick of the mind where I take a bit of a vacation from myself in Stevie, where I can just relax, sit back and watch everybody and not feel like I have to contribute. But in real life, I'm very Canadian. I feel like I have to, be there for you and be, yeah. So Stevie doesn't care.
Yeah, totally. Also, another role that you played is you were in 2 episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I was.
What do you remember most from your time on that show? Because it is such an iconic, nostalgic show for so many people.
Well, I remember it really well because it was my first thing ever. And it was The Tale of Cutter's Treasure. I remember the phone call I got for the audition for that. I remember the audition where I looked directly into the camera, which you're not supposed to do. And I remember getting the call that I got the part. It was like the greatest moment ever. And then my whole part was being the girlfriend, and I had to kiss the boy. Like my first job, my first day on set, I had to kiss this guy. And I wanted to be really professional. And so I went up to the director and I was like, so for the kiss, are you thinking more of a peck or a French kiss or with tongue? And like he looked at me, I was like 11. So yeah, he was horrified, and maybe then people started to think about intimacy coordinators.
Right, that's where it all started.
Yeah, because of me.
Yeah, glad to see that. That's incredible. Thank you, Emily, so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy it every time that you come in.
Me too. And I'm always obsessed with your teeth, which I know is weird. I'm always texting you about that. I mean, DMing you because we only see each other on camera or in DMs.
We got to exchange numbers.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Thank you.